to start. And Jacqui, you haven't seen this one, have you?
Yes, I have, Alex.
Yeah. Oh, terrific. Wonderful. Okay, so we've all seen it. Wonderful. Here's the first question, and I suppose this really goes to you, Peter. What does it take to ruin a friendship? Total disagreement? Is that what it takes? No, the reason I'm posing the rhetorical question is we find out in the latest eclectic endeavour from a writer and director called Martin McDonagh. And I was thinking, are you your eclectic tastes in movies generally, because they are, your tastes are very different. You see movies that nobody else has ever heard of, so, and you call them world beaters. And I'm thinking something else needs to be beaten. No.
Where is this going?
It's going off the rails very, very fast.
Yeah, absolutely. That was a film this year, Off the Rails.
Thank you. It was. I mean, Martin McDonagh has a strange way of looking at the world. So does Peter Krausz. That's what I'm getting.
We all have our own perspectives, Alex.
Correct. We do. And that sensibility has been the hallmark of McDonagh's canon of films, which includes wonderful product like In Bruges, Seven Psychopaths, and Three Billboards Outside Ebbing, Missouri. I mean, who would have even thought of that as the name of a movie? You'd sort of think, oh, well, come on, it's too long. It's like, it'll never even fit in a business card. But great film. And The Banshees of Inisherin continues that trend. And I should, I suppose, start by saying that Inisherin is a made-up name for where this film is set. It's a small, picturesque island off the coast of Ireland. Now, have any of you, Jacqui, have you been to Ireland?
No, I haven't, but I'm happy to go if you want to send me there.
For some reason, I thought you'd been to either Ireland or Scotland. Am I wrong?
Scotland I have, yes.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, I know you told me about that part of the world.
I'm happy to go back there too if you want to send me there as well.
Yeah, very good. Well, I mean, we've got a lot
of research.
Of course. Well, we've got a lot in common with the Irish, Dave. I mean, some of the best products that we've seen out here have been Irish footballers, of course.
And myself.
And are you Irish?
I am. My family arrived in Ireland as Scandinavian Vikings and stayed there. So, yeah, I directly came from Ireland.
Wow. But you were born here?
I was, yep. But other members of my family were not, yep.
Peter, I'd call you double Dutch, not Irish.
Thank you very much.
Very good. Okay, so you've got... now, yeah, I'm not...
I think I should have my lawyers on standby. I have a feeling I'm going to get a great class action out of this call.
No doubt. Exactly. And seeing we're paying you the big dollars, you can in fact, Jacqui's well aware of this because I quadrupled her pay last year, didn't I, Jacqui? I was very generous.
Absolutely. I'm as rich as I was then.
Correct. No. We enrich your life. That's what you're really saying, isn't it, Jacqui?
Oh, thank you, Rich.
Okay, leave poor Peter alone. This is supposed to be festive, joyous season, you just said.
It is. We're metaphorically sticking a few daggers in, that's all. Nothing to worry about. Now, Dave, how do you pronounce the character that Colin Farrell plays? Is it Pedrick?
Yeah, well, I would say Pedrick, which is the way that they pronounced it through most of the film. But I know a couple of other Irish people that have actually looked at that and said that it's said as Padrick.
As in Patrick with a D?
Yeah. See, my name in Irish is actually Dafid, which is D-A-F-I-D. So, yeah, they do that with Anglo names.
Yeah, well, again, this is pronunciation is everything, and I usually make a meal of it. Having said that, let's call him Pedrick or Padrick. And you've got Padrick, played by Colin Farrell, and you've got another character called Colm Doherty, which is the Brendan Gleeson character in this particular picture, which is terrific. They're the two stars, and they've been lifelong friends. But now, for no apparent reason, and I mean that, suddenly Colm Doherty wants to sever the link between them. He wants nothing to do with Pedrick. He doesn't even want Pedrick to address him. Very unusual behaviour. I mean, I've certainly never heard of anything like this in real life. Have any of you? Where somebody...
No, it's weird.
It is weird, isn't it? Yeah.
Yep.
Okay. So, given how weird it is, we need to find out why, which we do in this movie. So, I mean, the island's a buzz because it's a very small island, and you know, there's a pub on there, and people gather there on a daily basis. But the first question everyone asks is whether the pair had been feuding, and the answer is an equivocal no. So, fortunately, early on, we do find out why you've got Colm Doherty deciding to ditch Pedrick as a friend. But as extraordinary as that is, it's nothing compared to the consequences of Pedrick continuing to engage with Colm Doherty. Because Doherty's a composer and a fiddle player. And he goes to extreme lengths to see his wish of not fraternising anymore with Pedrick fulfilled. And then you've got Pedrick's sister, called Siobhan, played by Kerry Condon, whom he lives with, seeing up close and personal, what an impact this edict is having on her brother, and she really doesn't like it one little bit. I mean, it's such peculiar behaviour. It's affecting him in particular, and he can't understand why it should be so. Beautiful that it is, I must say, that Inisherin is a lonely and isolating place. I mean, this little island, and Siobhan sees her life slipping by. So she's got a rather important decision to make during the course of this picture. And there's a subplot involving a somewhat dull resident and drinking companion of Pedrick, Dominic Kearney, played by Barry Keoghan. And he's also got a policeman father on the island. I'm not quite sure why you need a policeman on there, but the father's name is Pedar and is played by Gary Lydon. So what you've got a situation here is that Dominic Kearney, this rather dull resident and drinking companion, often blurts out the wrong thing, while his father, the policeman, has issues of another sort. And then there's the island's resident witch-like ghoul who creeps out Pedrick. So it's a rather remarkable character study, the Banshees of Inisherin, of interpersonal relationships, and it's the interplay that makes the movie as good as it is, Jacqui, isn't it?
Yeah, good. Yes, it sort of headlines quirky, really. I don't think I've ever heard of such a weird, and it's quite a slim story. There's not, it doesn't have a lot of variation, but I don't think I've ever heard of such a weird, brief story plot as this, and that was my big problem with it. There's a lot I like about it.
You saw that as being the fact that it was a bit out there, a lot out there, that troubled you, did it? Because, I mean, originality, this has got all over it, hasn't it?
Yes, but I was pretty disgusted by it. Not just the idea of it, but the fact that he went ahead and did it. Mm-hmm. So I was pretty disgusted by it, and I also didn't really believe it. There were two things I didn't believe. I didn't believe the premise of why Colm didn't want to talk to his friend of probably his whole life ever again, because their conversation was as banal as his conversations with any of the other people at the pub. What was it about Pedrick's that was so much worse? Nothing. And I didn't really believe the story about him wanting to be or believing he could be, if he stayed away from his friend, he could in fact become a brilliant musical score writer for the fiddle.
Mm.
I mean, what gave him that idea? And then when he did one, it was basically barely even mediocre. So how could that be enough reason? There wasn't enough reason to do what he did.
I'll give you a rationale. As far as I'm concerned, it's got to do with his state of mind. And that's part and parcel of what this movie's about. That doesn't that make it justifiable?
Well,
I mean, just putting it out there.
The main character of the film had mental health issues.
Mm.
Is that what you're saying?
I am. I'm trying. I know you're being circumspect. I am too, because I'm trying not to destroy this for anybody. But yeah, I mean that's the essence of it. I mean, obviously not everybody is going to react the way he has, and we've already said it's a very unusual way to react, and that's indicative that there's something else going on, and it's got to do with his mind.
Everyone else in the community on the island supports Colm by saying, "Oh, no, Pedrick, you better stay away. Don't be an idiot." So they turn basically...
Well, I think they do that because of the consequences of not adhering.
Well, no. Okay, so Colm needs help. Let's help him.
Okay, yeah. Look, it's a reasonable point. Peter, can you answer Jacqui's claim, or do you feel the same way?
No, I really love this film because it is so multi-layered and has metaphors in it which are very important, which you need to understand as you're watching the film. For a start, the film is set in 1923, and we are given a few allusions to the idea that there's an Irish Civil War going on the mainland. So that has possibly been transposed to what is going on in this island in a more subtle sort of way. Secondly, the notion of banshees, which are women who sort of herald the death of a family member or of something awful or disastrous happening, the idea of this friendship breaking up, I think, reflects this whole notion that that period of time, 1923 in Ireland, was a difficult period of time for a lot of people because of their differing allegiances. And so I thought the friendship between the two main characters was very cleverly presented insofar as that it had broken up, and we're given clues as to why. I was very impressed by this film. Martin McDonagh is a terrific director who really understands the human condition and really is able to evoke a lot of underlying themes and ideas quite readily.
Yeah, I mean, Jacqui, obviously you've got a different opinion, but I really agree with Peter in this one. I think he's quite a genius. When I know there's another Martin McDonagh movie coming along, I hang out for it. There are very few directors that I've got the highest of regard or higher regard for. Okay, I know they can be violent movies, and some people don't like that aspect of it, and you've alluded to, without mentioning that word, that there's an inference there in terms of what you're telling us. Did you find nothing of merit? Did you think the acting? Because I thought the acting was outstanding.
The acting is outstanding. Not. I think the acting of the entire cast, and in fact, what I would say is some of the secondary characters are actually even more interesting. The publican, the policeman, the sister Siobhan, the donkey Jenny. They're great characters.
That's a great point. Who would have? But that's what I'm saying. The sensitivity of a director to think about a donkey in the way that the donkey's positioned here. I thought that was a stroke of genius again. No,
genius is a big word. It certainly adds to the film for sure. And I also think that the setting on this island is not just brilliant in itself for its sense of isolation, but it explains why there's this deep camaraderie between everyone, especially at the pub, and what their links are in this sense of community, and why Siobhan's moves are very relevant and those sorts of things. So the island itself is it's brilliant to look at, and it also explains a lot that the characters have between them.
Yes, indeed. Now, Dave, you've heard two sides here. Which side do you come out on?
Look, I really see Martin McDonagh as the modern-day Shakespeare. I love this film. I thought it was an absolutely brilliant film. I thought part of the relationship between the two men was an analogy of what happened in Ireland in later years, where you had two groups of people who previously lived together happily, suddenly not wanting to talk to each other. And in doing so, there were some of those groups that said, if you come near us anymore, we'll set fire to our own house and things like that. So I thought that was an analogy of what's happened in Ireland over the years. I've also heard another person say to me that they thought that perhaps Colm had a brain tumor. So there's some theories out there, but for me it was an analogy of what's happened in Ireland over the years, where you did suddenly have kids who were best friends suddenly being told, no, you can't talk to that friend anymore because you're better than him. So, yeah, that's the way I viewed it, but I thought it was an absolutely brilliant film.
Yeah, I mean, I thought Farrell was riveting as this sort of man perplexed by... He just won't let go of his desire to maintain his strong association with his best mate. I mean, and Gleeson is ideally suited to fill the role of a man who's made up his mind, and yet the basis of that decision points to what Jacqui alluded to, mental health issues.
Yeah, or a brain tumour. Yeah.
Or yeah, well, it could be. And then of course you've got the sister, Condon. What a wonderful persona she has as this sort of woman who's stoic but trapped. And I suppose to add to that, you've got Keegan. He's had a wow of a time exploiting the peccadilloes of a man who, well, he's not quite 100% or 100 cents in the dollar, is he? So the cinematography as well. I mean, Jacqui, Ben Davis, the person who did 3 Billboards, I thought he was outstanding, really outstanding, sort of painting the island itself as another character, yeah?
Oh, yes, and I mean, the island obviously presents itself too, but that environment, it says a lot about the way of life there.
Yeah, exactly. Well, the Banshees of Inisherin, it's comedic, it's dramatic, it's decidedly quirky. I don't think it's a film for all tastes. I mean, but I was fascinated and intrigued throughout. Let me start with, I'll introduce Greg King here. Hello, Greg. I hope you're enjoying your imbibing, shall we say. He is given Banshees of Inisherin 8 out of 10. Where are you with this, Peter?
Great film, and also I want to commend the music score by Carter Burwell, and 9 out of 10 from me.
Great score. And Dave Griffiths, you'll be right up there too, I'm sure.
Oh, definitely. This is one of my favourite films of the year. I'm actually giving it a 10. I can't wait to go back and see this film again.
Wow. Yeah. That's how many movies have got 10 from you this year, Dave?
Only 3, I think. Yep.
Only 3 movies.
Yep.
Wow. Okay. Jacqui, before I give my score.
I think it's an excellent film, but it's not a film for everyone. I had some troubles with it, but I did give it a 7.5 out of 10.
And I gave it, this is one of my films of the year, no question. And, it's in my top 3 or 4 films of the year. I thought it was absolutely brilliant. I think it'll do very well come Oscar time. It'll certainly get lots of well-deserved plaudits and nominations. So I'm giving it an 8.5, pushing a 9 out of 10 as well. So there we go. JF, 88 FM, first of